I'm going to talk about bathrooms, specifically comparing bathrooms in Japan with those in America, because I feel like there are certain areas of toiletry in which Japan has become more advanced than the US, but there is no reason why it should stay that way. So, the first thing is that, if you remember from one or two of my earlier videos, a lot of the times the toilets will have a faucet right here that pours out the water that will go into the toilet bowl each time that you flush. And you can use that to like rinse your hands or do some other water saving measure if you like. So it's good and environmental. And oftentimes people will place like a scented soap right here so that when the water goes down, it actually goes ahead and cleans the toilet bowl that way, and does a much more efficient job of it than the products which are supposed to do that in the US, in my opinion. So those are great. They will also have a bidet, a heated seats, and fake flush tunes. So that this is something that you'll see more often in the ladies' restrooms or in people's private homes, where they'll have a little button by the side on the handle there that will make a fake flushing noise, so that if you're embarrassed about your bodily noises while you're at the toilet, other people don't have to hear you. A little excessive, I think, but cute. Next, we have the showers that are in Japan, which very often the showers there will have a bigger drain that you can lift up and clean yourself. Now, I know I shed a bit when I take a shower, so and so if there's hair or anything else that just starts clogging things up in there, you can clean it yourself, which is a bit gross, but it means you don't have to call a plumber as often. And I prefer taking care of things myself when I'm able to do so, rather than paying someone else to do it. So I like this. And another thing, in general, of course, in Japan, they shower themselves before they go into the bath to soak. So you're not sitting in soapy water the whole time, which is really nice. And that's the way our bathroom was when I was in Japan, in my apartment. And it was also the way that if you saw the public baths, which are referred to as sento, or the hot natural spring mineral water baths known as onsen. It's the same way that both of those are set up. And I wanted to talk a bit more at length about onsen because they are one of my favorite aspects of Japanese culture, which I really, really wish we had in the US. And onsen is good for 3 reasons. First of all, the minerals are very good for your skin. Secondly, the use of like jets and bubbles, and also hot and cold water going back and forth between those, and of course like a sauna and things, are all really, really good for your muscles. For example, to illustrate how good they are, I'll point out to you that when I climbed Mount Fuji with a couple friends of mine, Mommy, she's awesome. When we climbed Mount Fuji, it took us like 7.5 hours to climb up, 3 hours at the bitter cold and wet top at the summit, and then another 4 hours or so walking down. And after climbing rock for that long, we went to the onsen. Next day, not really very sore. Very, very little soreness actually in my muscles, especially compared to how I would have expected to be after such a long climb. So really, really good for your muscles. Highly recommend them. The other reason, the third one, which is actually the most important reason in my mind, is that I believe using public baths or public onsen is healthy for your own body image. Because, at least I know, of course, in America, in the media, we get a very unrealistic perception of what healthy body image is. That people who are either super thin or who have had plastic surgery, and of course that doesn't even get into people with a heavy amount of makeup and photoshopping, especially photoshopping in magazines and things. It's an impossible standard that people end up holding themselves to as a result of all of these images. And it results in lower self-esteem, I'm sure. And you know, you can say, oh, well, you know, that's just the media. You know, you just have to keep in mind that those are people trying to sell things to you, or those are just actors and actresses who want to keep a certain image in order to get more roles. So they do that plastic surgery and everything. But so you shouldn't internalize that standard for yourself, because we're all unique individuals and you're okay and all that great, wonderful stuff. Well, you know, it's all well and good to say all of these things, but in my mind, experience always trumps words. So the fact that in an onsen you are required basically to expose yourself and be around other exposed people, that it helps you confront some things about your own body that gives you greater confidence, and I believe builds a much healthier perception of the human body, and as a result creates a greater sense of self and a greater confidence in yourself overall. So I think it would be fantastic if we had all kinds of natural hot springs all over the country in the US, as they do in Japan, because I think it would be wonderful to have this sort of setup. And oh, just so we're clear, it is a single gender setup. I mean, girls only and guys are in guys only. So, but I still think it's very important, it's very good, and I really, really wish that we had it in the US. So those are my recommendations for today. Thank you for listening.